Hi, Debbie Supple and Eloisa Mendoza-Hines here. We are the CPIN instructors for Regions 4 and 5. We're here today outside our storage unit at Region 4, where we keep all of our materials. During the pandemic, it's very hard to be at a preschool center. So we're doing the next best thing, and we're meeting with you today from our home base. Now, the way we would start with this whole geometry piece is we would move beyond shapes. Children already know their basic shapes. It doesn't take them long to learn them. And we all know that geometry is shapes, but it's also space. And what we mean by that are positions in space. And it's how they arrange those shapes to make new shapes and how they mentally visualize those shapes if combined with other shapes. In order to do that, they have to know terms like between, through, under, across, around, beside, all of that positional vocabulary that we sometimes take for granted. The book Rosie's Walk is a really fun adventure as she walks through the barnyard, using all of that positional vocabulary to get back home in time for dinner while she's being chased by Mr. Fox. And so the first thing you would do would be to lay out an obstacle course, either inside your classroom when it's cold outside, or when it gets nice out, do it outside on your playground or in your grass area outside, and actually walk them through the story. You can get these puppets from Folk Manus online, or you could make your own puppets or your own costumes and have the children act out the story while the other children are telling them which way to go, telling the fox to be careful, he's gonna fall into the water, he's gonna get stung by the bees, he even is gonna have flour dumped on his head when they walk past the mill, and one of the children can be holding that bag of flour. You can do so much with this acting out the story. So once they do the large motor obstacle course, we thought it would be really fun to continue the learning, because this is teacher predetermined and designed play. This is not child determined play at this point. So the teacher's directing the play to a point, okay? When they come back to this table, I'm gonna put my puppet down now. We have a diorama here, and we're gonna zoom in on it so you can see. Here's Rosie, and here's the fox, and we have the pond, and we even have the little rake that the fox trips over and hits himself in the head. We have the haystack, we have the mill with some cotton balls that represent the flour, and we have the fence, and then we have the beehive here. So the way I would do it is I would demonstrate something like this with the children, and play the game, you know, and have it out with the book and make invitations to them. So this is a provocation example. They would come up to the table, the books are out. You could make a class book. We have several examples here on the table of that, where you actually have the pictures, and then the children have to say where Rosie is in relation to that beehive. So that would be the positional vocabulary being used. And you do this a few times. Then the diorama goes away, and the children all get a little shirt box or something like that you can buy really inexpensively at the dollar store. And you know, everything here you can see is made from found materials. Paper cups, masking tape, the fence is held together with clothespins, you can see, and tape. We use some textured foam. So there's nothing that we used here that we didn't already have in our storage unit and that you wouldn't already have in your classroom. So the children make their individual dioramas based on the story. They don't look at yours as the model, okay? They've played the game a few times, they get the idea, they make their own. And then you can have one of those dioramas in your literacy learning center with the book, And so whenever they feel like it, they can go over and play the game, so to speak. But they're really retelling the story. There are so many content area skills here. You've got sequencing of the story. You've got literary interest and response. You have comprehension skills going on here. You've got the math skills we talked about, the directional or positional vocabulary. There's visual and performing arts going on here because they're acting this whole thing out. Social emotional development because they're taking turns. We could go on and on and on. This is such a fabulous, fabulous series of activities that you can do in your classroom. It doesn't cost you a cent except to get a hold of this book that many of us already have, and you're on your way.
And what's wonderful about this particular set of activities, beginning with the obstacle course, where the children act out the story in an outdoor area, and children can play the part of either the Rosie, the hen, or the fox. It's wonderful for language development, as Debbie was just mentioning, but especially for our English language learners because it allows them to participate. They're not just sitting on the sidelines. They may not have all the English language yet that they need to retell the story on their own and play with their friends, but they can go through the motions. And as they're playing and engaging in that story, whether in an outdoor setting, in an obstacle course setup, or with their diorama, they can begin to build language, and especially that positional language, right, which is all part of their math development. So we want to make sure we use activities, books, props, etc., that allows you to expand beyond the book. The book and the story is great to give children that background, and then once you set up these extended activities, you're going to see language just blossom. You're going to see those social and emotional skills really become better developed. So when they leave your preschool classroom, they're going to be better prepared to succeed in TK and K and beyond.